It's Gail Sibley at the IAPS convention in Albuquerque, and I'm with Stan Sperlak. Stan, I understand you were teaching a workshop here called, or something to do with dry underpainting. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
I would love to. Thank you, Gail. Thanks for having me be part of your project. It was an unusual choice of subjects or ways to attack a workshop at IAPS. Currently, the rage has been alcohol, turpentine, water, different things like that that people use. But I decided to kind of buck the trend and say, okay, could we go back in time and maybe do a workshop or a thesis, a premise, where students would use a dryer method that was done many years ago, all the way back to Leonardo, where there would be sand green drawings heightened with white chalk. There'd be backgrounds that would be cut away by another color, but nonetheless they were always basically just trying to tone a surface so that they would get a new effect with the painting. Versus the idea of direct painting, where you paint the sky, all the colors that you see, you paint the landscape, the colors that you want it to be, and you develop the painting just through typical darks and lights. The underpainting gives you this opportunity to create a unified structure. And one of the strongest tenets of my being able to paint well enough to be able to be a teacher is that I understand there's a certain amount of control you have to have. And a lot of students, when they're painting, they get out of control very early in their painting. And so if they're already getting out of control early in their paintings, in their beginning steps, which I used to too, why would you want to give them a spray bottle with water in it, or turpentine, or brushes, or all kinds of other tools that just dig a deeper hole? So I think that baby steps as you learn about underpaintings is an important thing. So I feel that the dry underpaintings that I teach give that safety, the safety that you're not warping your paintings, that you're not ruining your paper, that you're not causing these unrecognizable areas into a panel that you don't know what to do with. So with the dry underpaintings, it's kind of like, it goes back to the classicism where a grisaille was what people would do to develop a scene to then apply colors to. So nonetheless, a grisaille is a grayscale, and then nonetheless it's also a value study. And so on top of the value study or the grayscale, you're slowly adding halftones and lights to get this effect. A lot of figurative work was done that way, where there'd be a block in, and that would be sort of an underpainting. That would be the meat, and then the flesh, and then the light and the highlights would come after that. But eventually, pastel and most other arts would do this, but pastel used to be a lot of times a sketchy thing where there weren't backgrounds. There were people that would draw the figure. They would set up situations where it'd be blue paper, yellow paper, red paper, and they would put a figurative piece on that. It's still done today. Robert Liberace's an oil painter, but that's a good example of the way he puts a sienna wash and then he cuts into it with his flesh tones. And magically something appears. But he has control when he does that. And so with this dry underpainting, what I do is I have students shave or apply 2 or 3 values of the same color onto a board. Whether they put them in the order of what the landscape painting actually is, or whether they just put them on serendipitously and then go ahead and paint over that, what happens is it creates an unexpected background that gives the painting a ton of solidity. Now, where did I learn things like this? Dealing with people like Doug Dawson and Will Creevy, whose books were written so long ago they don't have websites in them. But those guys are still here walking the halls of IAPS and having a lot of fun and sharing their knowledge still. But that's exactly how far back that goes. In fact, as I said, it goes back even further, but I just know that I enjoy the control. Now, the portability is also a big bonus too, because if you're going out painting, or getting on an airplane, you don't need to bring tubes and bottles and forget that you had fluid in this and you get arrested and put in jail. So it's better to just take out and just put on a little bit of pastel, rub it into your paper. We were using foam today, rubbing it into the paper, and then we were also using tissues and rubbing it. And so we wound up creating this wonderful, simple thing like corn muffins.
Wonderful.
All right?
Yeah, thanks so much, Stan. That's
Thanks
great.
for asking me. Bye-bye again.